Hello and welcome to the show. Today I have Will It Roll on GTA 5, and I know what you are all saying. You are wondering why on earth am I doing this on Grand Theft Auto, as it is very easy to roll cars, and that is rather true. You have control of your vehicle in the air, for example. It's not particularly hard to roll over cars. However, it is rather difficult to roll over some of the other vehicles. Now, to show you just how easy it is, I've gone into single player. It's easy to do this in single player as more vehicles are around and they're easy to find and everything. I am going to do a flip with the Audi whatever off a shark on the beach. Yes, it's not hard to roll over a car. Yeah, there's not your usual ramp, but it'll do. Yeah. I'm trying to decide what it's made out of. I don't think it's a sand, like made out of sand. Is it possibly? No, it doesn't look like it. But yeah, it's very, very straightforward to roll over cars, as yeah, you have control of the vehicle in the air, and there is plenty of obstacles to try and fling your vehicle off of. However, I am going to be trying to roll some of the larger, more difficult vehicles. Now, where this becomes interesting is I want to find a place to roll them. As I said, with cars it's very easy, there's plenty of places, but with some of the vehicles I'm going to try and roll, it's not quite that straightforward. So this is the location which I've chosen. This is on the airfield. If you buy a hangar at the airfield, by the way, the police don't get angry at you, so you can mess about all you want around here. Now I'm going to be using that ramp that you saw there as a kind of a controlled environment. This is where I'm going to try and roll the cars. It gives me a big enough run up down here if the vehicle takes some time to accelerate, and it gives me enough space to kind of move. I don't have to worry about any tight turns anywhere for some of the larger vehicles. It just makes everything kind of straightforward. I can have plenty big run up, I can get my vehicle turned and lined up for the jump easily without worrying about any cars interfering or anything getting in the way, and I can fling them off here and I can try and roll them as I do a double barrel roll with my Audi, and I smash it all up. I'm sorry, Audi. But yes, that's where we're going to be trying to roll them. We are just going to try and roll off that jump on the most part, because it's just so much easier than spending forever trying to find the absolute right location. This is by far the longest Will It Roll to film. It's taken me forever to do this one. But anyway, let's get underway. And we start with a bus. Yes, I'm going to try and roll a bus. There are some random passengers on board, so they're going to go for a bit of a adventure, shall we say. I love how when you steal the buses, the people inside don't get off, and you can be parked and they still don't get off, or they try and get off. So yes, I'm going to try and roll the bus. I also love how you can do a burnout with almost every single vehicle, which is interesting. So yeah, we'll try and roll the bus. Now this is one of the faster vehicles that we're going to have here today. It's not something you normally say about a bus when it comes to video games. And we hit the ramp and we have an issue. And it's a fairly large issue, in fact, with the bus. And now there's some odd characteristics going on as I'm trying to right the bus, and then I realise I can mess about with the physics, and I can actually get sort of perpetual motion going on with this thing, rocking it from side to side. Yeah, why you know physics game, and now the bus has fallen over. You can't roll it over, sadly, from doing this. I tried. Yeah, physics is a bit wonky with some of these things. But anyway, the big problem with the bus, as it now goes around the corner on two wheels, the big problem with the bus is that the overhang at the front. So that is the sort of the length of the bodywork in front of the front wheels. As you hit this, you just hit the bodywork on it, and that slows it down quite considerably, and it makes it very, very difficult to roll as you're going to go on two wheels again. Also, it doesn't help that ramp thing that I'm using. I'm not sure what on earth it is. It isn't really designed to be used as a ramp. But the cars kind of mostly interact with it like a ramp, but the bus has some issues, and it just clatters into it. And I couldn't get the bus to roll. I tried for a little while with the bus, and I couldn't get it to do anything. I have no doubt if you throw this off another obstacle somewhere in the world, you can get it to roll. And I'm not going to say it's impossible to roll, because I'm sure it's very possible. But off that particular ramp down there, it has some issues, and I'm trying to rock it to kind of get it onto its roof. That doesn't really work. But yeah, off that ramp the bus doesn't want to roll. It is quite a difficult one to get it to flip off of that. We move on next to a tractor. I wanted to try and roll a tractor, but I really didn't want to drive a tractor all the way down from wherever they spawn up in Sandy Shores all the way to the airport, as that would take forever. So I got hold of a Chinook helicopter thing, I think it's called a cargo bob, and went off to find and pick up a tractor to kind of airlift it to the airfield. And this is It's a little bit interesting trying to do this with some of the larger, heavier vehicles. It makes the helicopter rather slow. This helicopter isn't the fastest thing anyway, but yeah, it still takes a fair bit of time to get these heavy vehicles all the way to the airfield. I also love how the AI driver doesn't get out of the vehicle the minute you pick it up. He just sits in there and you can go and take it wherever. Occasionally I have had them jump out in midair. It's kind of amusing. But yeah, the AI doesn't quite know what to do once you pick them up in the vehicle. So we now have the tractor at the runway, and yeah, we're going to try and again aim for the jump. I was a little bit ambitious with the run up on this one, I will admit. I also love how, yep, I'm doing a burnout in a tractor because I can. There's a whatever luggage truck thing, don't know what to call it. There was sitting admiring the burnouts. I was a little bit ambitious with the run up for the tractor. Didn't really need to take this long. However, I wasn't expecting this to be a particularly hard one to roll, as we saw Husky manage to roll the tractor while I don't even know how he rolled the tractor off the little ramp by the lumber mill. So I was expecting this to not be particularly difficult. Very high centre of mass with this thing, and sure enough, there we go. The tractor is on its roof and going to land it again. Yeah, fairly straightforward to roll a tractor. I would imagine you could roll it off many things, but for the sake of fairness, to keep everything all in one place, it has been rolled at the airport. Now we move on next to, well, since we're at the airport, we might as well use this thing. It's lying around. I believe this is one of the tugs that pull, well, in real life this thing would be used to pull the big jumbos around to manoeuvre in tighter spaces and that kind of thing. These things are very heavy, so I don't know how, well, I didn't know how that would be simulated in a GTA. I wouldn't expect it to be particularly realistically simulated, but it could be interesting for when it comes to rolling. Also, the scratch down the side, that wasn't me. This thing when the AI were driving it drove it into a taxiing plane. Yeah, they have funny crashes. Anyway, we're going to go and hit the ramp, and sure enough, the tug thing rolls over and lands on its side. This has a very large overhang at the front as well, and I feared that it might cause some problems. It did whack the front on the bottom of the jump, but it didn't stop it from rolling. Now, I wanted to roll a camper van, however these things only, again, spawn up near sandy shores, that kind of area, and since this isn't quite as slow as a tractor, I figured it would take just as much time to helicopter it in as it would to drive it in. So I decided to drive it all of the way. However, at some point, and I'm not sure when, and I'm not sure what I did, I may have irritated the fuzz, and then they chased me, and then it was proving a little bit difficult to lose the police when you're driving a blooming motorhome. So I was going to go to the airfield and just try and roll it with the police chasing me, because I couldn't be bothered to try and get another blooming one. It takes forever getting these vehicles down from the blooming wherever it is that they spawn. So yeah, the police may be chasing me a little bit, although I've managed to lose them in the airfield all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on with the police force. And we're going to attack the ramp with the motorhome. Didn't quite go to plan. Did kind of a twist front flip, and then something broke. Something in that crash, I don't know what on earth went on with this thing, but it suddenly lost sort of all drive, and I'm not sure what I broke in. I've never had this on GTA before with any other vehicle. I had a crash and caused it to break almost completely, but still move at like 5 miles an hour. Yeah, I'm not sure what I killed in it. I also love how I've managed to lose the police in an attempt to roll on the airfield while I was in the city trying to drive away from them, and I couldn't get away. So yeah, yay for police force. Anyway, yeah, this is an odd breakage on this thing. As you saw, I stopped it and started again. It's not like it's like rolling. It is actually under power. It's just got very little in the way of horsepower. I was trying to have a look, see if maybe the wheels are buckled and was causing it to go very slow, but it doesn't seem like it. I was doing a burnout to actually make sure that the wheels were all working. Both wheels were spinning. So yeah, I'm not sure why I broke on that, but because it was broken, I really didn't want to go get another one. That's going to have to do for the motorhome. Now, I found this completely by accident. I wasn't intending to roll this, but since it was around and I was in my helicopter, I thought I'd pick it up and take it to the airfield. This is one of the easiest things to manoeuvre by air as well, out of all the things that I did manoeuvre by air, which was surprising, actually, considering it's a fairly big, heavy truck. This is the one vehicle I found that can't do a burnout, or at least I couldn't get it to do a burnout. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's just this vehicle that doesn't do burnouts. Anyway, we're going to have a go at rolling this. I wasn't expecting this one to be particularly tricky, as well, it's a fairly high vehicle and they tend to fall over fairly straightforwardly. and sure enough, there is a barrel rolling cement mixer. There we go. I do know my trucks. Not the sort of sight you see every day, but again, that's very, very straightforward for this truck to be rolled. Now, I was kind of experimenting again. This is another one I found completely by accident, and I apologise for the random changes in times. It's just the length of time it takes to get or find a vehicle and then deliver a vehicle down here meant the time of day was all wonky. So yes, I now have a taco truck, and I'm sorry, I may have broken the sign on the roof. Unfortunately, I had a little incident on the drive down with the spinning thing. As with, I got a pretty good job with most of them not breaking them before they got here. Although, yeah, I may have hit some cross traffic with this thing. Anyway, again, I wasn't expecting this to be particularly tricky to roll, as it doesn't have the silly massive overhangs at the front like some of the vehicles. It's also relatively quick, which is useful when we're doing this kind of thing. And sure enough, first time, not the most spectacular roll of the vehicles that we have had here, but it did a complete roll and lands on its wheels. So yeah, it's not too bad from this vehicle. Up next, we have got one of the big semi-trucks with a trailer. I didn't have a huge amount of hope with the trailer on this one. Wasn't really sure quite what it's going to do, but I have to give it a go. Luckily, these things, they spawn, there's very odd spawns with these things. Sometimes you get lucky and find them on the motorways around the airport. Sometimes you have to go a very long way to find the damn things. Yeah, you've got to love GTA's vehicle spawning, whatever system they have for it. Anyway, going to try and roll it, as there's some people just standing about. They stand out there the entire day, they don't do anything. They just stand around by the back of that plane. And we're going to go and hit the ramp. This, again, not too bad speed-wise. Sure enough, the trailer really does confuse it. I don't know if the trailers can actually go upside down at all, or I think it's always going to get caught and kind of twist around. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that the trailer doesn't really roll with the truck. It can't really, the physics can't really cope with it. So I got rid of the trailer, and it's now going to try with just the truck cab. And this shouldn't be too hard. Again, very high centre of mass, I guess it would have, and also hasn't got a massive overhang at the front. And sure enough, there we go. Look at that, perfect barrel roll from a truck. I've managed to barrel roll a truck on GTM. Didn't manage it on BeamNG, but never mind. I've barrel rolled one of them. I think I also broke one of the tyres on that thing as well at some point. Now, the next vehicle I wanted to try and roll was a bulldozer. Now, I did not want to drive this through the city, so it was again going to be airlifted in. However, there is a problem when it comes to airlifting these large, sort of heavy vehicles, and that is, as they move about underneath the helicopter, they get caught on the back wheels, and then you lose control of the helicopter. Like now, I have no control of it. It's gone. There is absolutely nothing I can do except for bail out and panic and then pull the parachute. I can't have any control over the helicopter when it does that. Amazingly though, the bulldozer somehow survived. I have no idea how the bulldozer survived the trip into the building. I guess the helicopter hit first, blew up, and that didn't do enough damage to blow up the bulldozer with it, and the helicopter went spiralling off somewhere down over there. I don't know where it ended up. Over down there, I think. You can just about see the wreck. Yeah, there it is. The bulldozer was like released, and it landed on the roof, and it amazingly landed right side up, and it still functions. So the bulldozer survived its rather adventurous trip, and now I've got it stuck on the roof. Now I've got to try and find a way off the roof, and I was having trouble getting over that little tiny lip. So yeah, I have no idea what was going on with this thing. How it survived, I will never know. But I'm not going to complain, as I managed to get it off the roof, into a tree, and rolled it on the way down. And then someone managed to drive into the side of me. That was clever of you. To be honest, it's not the thing you expect to see when you're just driving along, minding your own business, to see a bulldozer come tumbling off the roof. But yes, I have kind of technically rolled the bulldozer and sort of off the roof. But since I was at the airport, I thought, well, I might as well, you know, get to the jump location or ramp location and see if I could get it to do anything off that. It is rather slow. The people are still standing around, not doing it much. It's terribly, terribly slow. Ooh, look at the pretty graphics. There's really not much else going on at the moment. We're here, we're nearly there. After all the time, it took forever to get it down here, and it might have missed the jump a little bit. God damn it. Now, since I don't actually need a big run-up with this thing, it's just the way that I entered the airport by like going up that way. I could kind of maneuver it. It's not a very maneuverable vehicle around here to try and get it in position. The one problem I have with the blooming bulldozer on here is that if you like turn the stick left and right, like with tracks, it should be able to turn without having to go forward, yet it can't. I'm also doing a burnout with a tracked vehicle. Don't think that should work. Yeah, it's not very maneuverable vehicle, and it's also very slow, and I couldn't get it to roll off that damn thing up there. I rolled it off the roof of the building, so that'll count, I think, but I can't really get it to roll properly because it's just too damn slow. Now, for the grand finale, I wanted to use the massive dump truck. However, there was some issues with this. The first of all was just merely getting it to the airport. I figured I'd try and drive this thing. I wasn't expecting the helicopter to actually be strong enough to pick it up, so I thought I would drive it from the quarry to the airport. Now this is very slow, and it is a very long way. It took an awful long time to get it to this point. However, there were some rather large issues that I take out the traffic lights. First of all, low-hanging bridges. You can get the dump truck stuck. It just can't go further forward because of a bridge. Now that's alright, I can manoeuvre it around, find another route. However, what happened, unfortunately I didn't have my recording thing on it at the time, is I got caught by a bridge. I went to reverse to find another way around. There was a traffic behind me and I blew up, or I drove over one of the cars behind me, blew it up. If a car blows up while it is underneath the dump truck, that destroys the dump truck as well. So yeah, after probably 15 minutes the dump truck was destroyed and I wasn't going to try and drive it there again. So I got the helicopter, and wasn't expecting this to work, but somehow it can pick up the humongous dump truck. Yeah, I was surprised by that one. However, there is a very similar problem with this as there was with the bulldozer. The truck has kind of started tilting forwards. The helicopter is now caught, and I cannot kind of control it. I cannot do anything to stop the helicopter flying in this sort of way. And now we're about to have a very big crash into the side of the hill. I tried a few more times than that. I didn't record them. I didn't have the thing turned on, and I just couldn't get the dump truck to get to the city. Every time something would happen, and it takes so long to get it there anyway, that I eventually gave up just trying to airlift this thing to the airport. So I stayed at the quarry. A little bit cheaty, I know, but I just couldn't. I couldn't get the damn thing all the way. It's about 3 miles. And every time something would go wrong, in fact there was one time when just the dump truck whacking the bottom of the helicopter caused it to malfunction, like turned off the rotors, broke the engine, and then that caused a very big crash as well. Yeah, it's hard airlifting this thing around. Anyway, we're going to use the quarry, as there were some hills that we could try and throw this thing off, because, you know, I don't want to be beaten by the massive dump truck. It is a shame I couldn't get it to the airfield, as it would have made for quite a spectacular flip, I would imagine. Anyway, I was just going to go off one of the things on the quarry, and sure enough, it was pretty straightforward rolling it off that. Still a very silly sight, I have to say, seeing this thing tumble. Yeah, it's a massive, great big thing, and yeah, great fun to drive and mess around with, although oddly fragile when it comes to things exploding near it. I was then hoping to try and get it to sort of land on its roof for a thumbnail image, but I couldn't get it to do that, unfortunately. But it did roll over fully off the first ramp, so I'll take that. That's good enough for me. So yeah, you can roll some very odd vehicles in GTA. Of course you can. The physics is a little bit wonky, but it's still quite fun to try and see what they do. And it's also very fun trying to airlift that massive dump truck. I recommend you give it a go, although it will take quite a long time. It's not a quick flight if you do try to do that. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching. Next week's Will It Roll, I think I am going to do the versus the community cars. So if you would like to suggest which ones you would like to see me roll, these are the cars which I have used in the previous versus the communities. Yeah, please do leave a comment in the commentary section, and some of them will be rolled next week. Also, if you have any ideas for other themes, then also please do leave them in the comment section. I will have a look through, and my favourites will be in a video at some point. However, that is it for today, so thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.